Here with Sam Houston head coach Casey Keeler. Coach Keeler, first off, congratulations on moving to the FBS. I was wondering if there's any tangible benefits you're already experiencing as a head coach there at Sam Houston about that move.
Well, we've always recruited very well, obviously, won a national championship. But what we found is, some of those guys that were looking at G5s outside the state of Texas, all of a sudden we've become a lot better option. So I thought we recruited really well as an FCS program. I can feel the move in terms of getting even a higher level player as we move to FBS.
I think a lot of people look at that 5-4 record last year and they don't get the context and how many of the best players on the team that you redshirted. Can you walk us through what that process was like and the benefit that that's going to play for this year?
Yeah, first of all, we lost some great players because they had 1 year left. We weren't going to be able to play for anything. We had a 9-game schedule. And so if you had your degree and you had 1 year left, I helped you. My All-American tailback ended up at Kentucky. My great left guard ended up at Tulane as an all-conference player in the AAC. So we lost 4 or 5 great players, but then the rest of those guys who had eligibility and had redshirt years, we redshirted. And we played them in the A&M game, we played them in the SFA game, and we tried to pick out 2 other games early in the season because we wanted to finish their season early so we could kind of get them in the weight room and kind of start preparing them for this year coming up. And it might be the most difficult thing I've ever had to do because I'm all in all the time. And to talk to the players about playing for the standard is one thing philosophically, but to actually have to do it, it was hard because we're used to trying to play for championships. And kind of glad that's behind us, and glad now that if you look at our roster, it's a lot deeper than a typical FCS program would be moving into FBS.
Y'all guys are pretty used to the difficult, right? I mean, 2020 with the COVID year, and then y'all played in the spring of 2021. I think you played, 23 games in 2020?
22 games in 10 months.
So what did that do for the football team in terms of forging an identity and a toughness?
We talk a lot about being resilient and just being able to work through anything. And so I think that was just, us being resilient. We talk about being reliable, being resilient. And it's just the kind of kids that we get and the mentality we ask for. And so I think all the things we had to go through, most people don't realize we won a national championship without a locker room. Yeah. Our facility is being redone. Our kids changed in the stands during practice. We had to march up the visitor stands to go to the weight room to go to a makeshift locker room for home games. We didn't have meeting space. We did everything through Zoom. So if you think about all the things we had to overcome to win a national championship on top, including COVID, you can see what we're all about. And I think it's forged a really tough mentality. We're not going to worry about the little things. We're just going to keep on plowing through those things. And our kids don't worry about the nonsense.
You also had to shovel some snow.
Yeah, we had a unique situation. We had a snowstorm come in, and I found out there's no snow shovels in Huntsville, Texas.
Yeah, we don't have those now.
No, so I had to go get feed shovels, and we got 6 of them. And it's amazing how long it takes to get snow off a football field with only 6 shovels. But 4 days later, we got the field shoveled out, and we got a chance to start practicing again. And I think the players being up in the weight room, just watching us do that as a staff, trainers, coaches, managers, we all did it. And I think they saw wow, this is important. And look what our staff is doing so we can go practice. So I think there's so many things that happened during the course of that national championship run that has really made the culture we have.
Now, you're from Delaware,
Yep.
from the Northeast. When you got to Texas, what were some of the things that maybe took you off guard?
Well, first of all, it was the summer. I mean, I can't tell you how many people said to me, so is this your first summer? And I'm like, yeah, and they would just giggle and walk away. And it happened over and over again, so you knew something was going on there. The other thing is the pride. How proud are you to be a Texan now? Well, I've only been here 3 weeks. I don't know how, I'm not there yet. It's been a decade now, and I am very proud to be a Texan. Yeah, I mean, it's a unique place. And I can't tell you all the people that ask me about, why is the high school football so amazing? Well, there's a commitment level there. I mean, these coaches coach at a high level. You go watch a Texas high school football practice, you don't think you're watching a college practice. With the level of coaching, the organization, the manpower they put into it, same thing in the weight room. You have full-time strength coaches. You don't find that in the Northeast or even down in Florida or even through parts of Georgia. So Texas has really taken their football to a different level, and it's one of the reasons why we focus on recruiting Texas high school players. As I've said a number of times, 71% of the players that we had when we won the national championship were players that we got out of high schools in the state of Texas. And I think it speaks a lot for the success we've had and why we've had it.
You've coached for a long time. You've won a couple national championships. I think, Nick Saban, Mac Brown, Brian Kelly are the only active coaches with more wins than you. I'm not calling you old.
Yeah. There's a national reporter that put out my birthday a month ahead of time, I think just to take a shot at how old I was. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, it's July 26th, not June 26th.
Right.
Cut me a break.
Give me a month. Give me a month.
And I, at my advanced age, I had to ask my wife. I said, isn't my birthday today? And she did inform me that, no, it's in a month from now. I felt really good because, thank God, I thought it was a month from now. So.
You felt young that day. You got an extra month back. But this is going to be your first time coaching the FBS.
Yep.
How different is that, or is it football's football and you just approach it a week at a time?
Yeah, I think football's football. I think it's all about culture. I mean, you need great players. You need great coaches. I work really hard at that. But on top of that, it's about developing a culture. I think that's why, I've been able to have so much success at the 3 programs I've been at, is that it's about developing a culture where those kids are just in this thing together. And I think we have a great culture, and I think I have a really good roster, and I'm excited about playing a really tough schedule coming up.
I've heard you talk about how you can go stand on the 50-yard line and you're surrounded by the best talent in high school football. When you're talking to those kids, why Sam Houston?
Yeah. So I say, like, in a 3.5-hour radius, you're not going to find better football than where I'm standing right now. And it's very true. And, it's a lot because of how these players have been developed. It's also a lot just the mentality. Like, when you get a high school player from the state of Texas, they understand the commitment level. A lot of times it's a huge jump going from high school to college, and we're practicing at this time and we have weights also. And you get players from the state of Texas, they've been demanded already. So I think it's a little bit easier to recruit and develop a culture with players that already understand the commitment level that is expected.
I've asked you this before, and you told me to throw the reasonable out, right? So what are the expectations for Sam Houston football in 2023?
Yeah, it's going to beat BYU. I mean, again, I talked about this a little bit in my press conference. When you open up the first page of our player manual, you're going to see our schedule, and it's going to have BYU, and nothing else matters. And that's the mentality we want our kids to have. I'm also talking about, being resilient. Being resilient is being able to handle 0-5. Being resilient is also handling 5-0. I don't know where we're going to be. We could be 5-0. I don't know. But being resilient means you come every day and you just work at it and you just, work through whatever difficulties you're having. And being 5-0 can be difficult also, believe it or not. I like my roster. I like the fact that we have a lot of kids coming back that have been part of that national championship run. And it's a challenging schedule, but I think we're up to it.
All right, sir. Appreciate the time.
You got it, man.